Welcome back to another powerful story, where we turn obstacles into opportunities and remind you that your greatest strength lies in never giving up. Let's dive in and ignite your motivation. Building a strong personality, the journey of Maya. Maya sat at her desk, staring out of the window at the busy city streets below. The noise of honking cars, people hurrying to their destinations, and the general hustle of life filled the air. But in her heart, she felt a deep sense of stillness and emptiness she couldn't quite shake off. For years, she had lived in the shadow of self-doubt, never truly believing in herself. Maya was intelligent, capable, and had big dreams. Yet, whenever she was faced with the opportunity to speak up, take risks, or embrace new challenges, something held her back. One evening, after another unproductive day, Maya decided to take a walk through the park. As she strolled through the park, she noticed an old man sitting on a bench, smiling serenely as he watched the world go by. He seemed so content, so at peace with himself. Maya approached him and, on a whim, struck up a conversation. "You seem so calm," Maya remarked, sitting next to him. The man chuckled softly. "I've lived long enough to realize that peace comes from within. It doesn't matter what the world does around you. What matters is how you respond to it." Maya looked at him, intrigued. "I wish I could feel that kind of peace. I always seem to be battling with myself. I want to be more confident, but I never know where to start." The old man smiled warmly. "Building a strong personality takes time, my dear. It's a journey, not a destination. But I can tell you this, it starts with knowing who you are and what you stand for. And then, it's about making small, steady changes every day." Maya's eyes brightened with curiosity. "Can you show me how?" The old man nodded. "I can, but the real work will be yours. Let me tell you a story, one that might help you begin your own journey." The beginning of a journey. Many years ago, when the old man was a young boy, he lived in a small village surrounded by vast fields and towering mountains. His family was poor, and life was a constant struggle. His parents, though loving, were too busy with work to offer him much guidance. He often felt like an invisible figure, overlooked by the world around him. One day, when he was around 10 years old, the village was hit by a powerful storm. It tore through the houses, knocked over trees, and left the villagers in a state of panic. The young boy was terrified, unsure of what to do. The adults scrambled to secure their homes and gather supplies, while the children were left to fend for themselves. The boy found himself standing alone in the middle of the chaos. As he looked around, he saw fear in everyone's eyes. People were helpless, waiting for someone to take charge, but no one did. In that moment, something inside the boy clicked. He realized that he could either stand there, frozen by fear, or he could take action. Without thinking, he ran to the nearby riverbank, where he knew there were sturdy logs that could be used to reinforce the damaged houses. He worked tirelessly, carrying the logs and directing others to help. Slowly, his efforts began to make a difference. The storm passed, and the village, though battered, stood strong. People started to look at the boy in a new light. He wasn't just the quiet kid in the background anymore. He had become someone who could be relied upon. The old man paused and turned to Maya. "That was the first step in building my own strength. I learned that I had to take responsibility, even when others were too afraid to act. Confidence is built by taking action, not by waiting for the perfect moment." Maya was deep in thought. "But what if I fail?" she asked. The old man chuckled. "Failure is just a lesson in disguise. Every time you try and fail, you learn something new about yourself. The key is to keep trying. If you only focus on the fear of failure, you'll never take the first step. But if you focus on the possibility of growth, you'll start to see opportunities where you once saw obstacles." Maya felt a spark of hope ignite within her. The idea of growth, of learning from mistakes, felt like the first breath of fresh air she'd had in years. The power of self-awareness. The next day, Maya decided to take the old man's advice to heart. She started by journaling her thoughts. She wrote down her fears, her insecurities, and her desires. It felt strange at first, but the more she wrote, the more she uncovered hidden truths about herself. She realized that much of her self-doubt came from external expectations and the constant comparison to others. She had always tried to live up to standards that weren't her own, and in doing so, she had lost touch with her authentic self. Maya made a promise to herself. She would stop measuring her worth based on others. She would stop trying to fit into a mold that didn't suit her and start embracing who she truly was. As she continued her journaling practice, she found a deeper sense of self-awareness growing inside her. She understood her strengths and weaknesses more clearly. She saw where she needed to grow and where she already excelled. Most importantly, she realized that she didn't need to be perfect to be valuable. Her uniqueness was her strength, and embracing that truth was the key to building a strong personality. One evening, she sat down with a cup of tea, reflecting on her progress. She felt a deep sense of gratitude for the lessons she had learned, but she also knew that the journey was far from over. The importance of consistency. As the weeks passed, Maya began to notice subtle changes in herself. She was more confident in meetings at work, no longer second-guessing her ideas. She took on new challenges, even when they felt intimidating, but there were also moments of doubt, moments when she questioned whether she was truly on the right path. One day, during a particularly stressful week, Maya met with her mentor, a woman she greatly admired for her strength and wisdom. Maya shared her feelings of uncertainty. "I am trying to embrace my true self," Maya said, "but there are times when I still feel lost. Sometimes I feel like I am not making enough progress." Her mentor smiled gently. Building a strong personality isn't about instant results. It's about consistency. You don't have to change everything overnight. You don't have to have it all figured out. What matters is that you show up every day, willing to take small steps forward. The journey may be slow, but each step you take will bring you closer to the person you want to become. Maya nodded, feeling comforted by her mentor's words. She understood now that building strength wasn't a sprint, it was a marathon. There would be setbacks, there would be struggles, but as long as she kept moving forward, she would continue to grow. Overcoming fear and embracing vulnerability. A few months later, Maya was faced with a life-changing opportunity. She was offered a promotion at work that would require her to step into a leadership role. At first, she was excited. But then, the familiar voice of fear crept in. What if she wasn't good enough? What if she failed? Maya remembered the old man's words. Confidence is built by taking action, not by waiting for the perfect moment. She realized that her fear was just another obstacle to overcome. She took a deep breath and accepted the promotion. It wasn't easy. There were moments of self-doubt, moments when she questioned her abilities, but she also began to see how much she had grown. She was no longer afraid of vulnerability. She embraced it, understanding that true strength comes from being authentic and open, even in the face of uncertainty. Maya learned that vulnerability was not a weakness, it was a source of power. By allowing herself to be vulnerable, she became more relatable, more compassionate, and more connected to the people around her. The final lesson: leading with integrity. As Maya continued to rise in her career, she realized that building a strong personality was not just about personal growth, it was also about leading with integrity and inspiring others to be their best selves. She took the lessons she had learned on her own journey and shared them with her team, encouraging them to embrace their strengths and grow through their challenges. One day, while reflecting on her journey, Maya thought back to the old man she had met in the park. She smiled to herself, grateful for the guidance he had given her. She had learned to embrace her true self, to face her fears, and to lead with authenticity and compassion. Maya had built a strong personality not through perfection, but through persistence, self-awareness, and the willingness to grow. And now she was helping others do the same.